Today what we're making is yarn butler, yarn caddy. I tell you the history with this with me. I was trying to knit with my sister, and she has like a little knitting club that meets at the coffee shop. And I got there, and you're knitting, and you're like, okay, ooh, look at the wood. Isn't that pretty? So one of the ladies had this, and it was actually this one. She returned it to the yarn place because it was warped, and I ended up making a ton of these, and I decided that they would sell like hotcakes. So it's the first time that I tried to sell through a place, which you come to the realization that they take a lot of the money that you think that you're making. I think they sold him for $60 and I got 30. But I did sell like 3 or 4 of them, so I was pretty happy with that. These are the professional ones. They actually sell these with the coloring on it. It has the Spectra ply on the top, and this is painted on the bottom. This is sold at her shop for $70, which I was like, wowza. She said to me after I had pulled my last 2 back from her, what they're looking for is the smoothness. So this needs to be a smooth ball bearing in it. So this one is interesting because it has this, like a ball bearing, but I use the Lazy Susan software or hardware, excuse me. I'll send this around if you guys want to take a look at it. The Lazy Susan that I used, I got from Woodworkers Depot, and it's beautiful because it's just slick. I've had them where they're not, but this one is nice. She's pretty slick. And then the other part of this is, and this is important because they go meandering around with their yarn, this comes off. So like I said, I was sitting in that coffee shop and I was looking at this thing and I'm like, I can make it. I'm going to make it. So I did. Thank God for Verns. I'll send this around. So the ones that I made and sent, ooh, that was a close one. The ones that I made and sent, if you look at this one, I think it's poplar. It was just poopy wood. It was all glued together, and I did not want, I love natural wood, but obviously this is not something that you want to show off. It wasn't the prettiest thing. So that's when I started texturing and dyeing the wood. So these were the ones that I was selling at her shop. We're going to go through very slightly the texturing and the dyeing process that I went through with this at the end if I have time, because I have no idea how long this is going to take, because this would normally at home take me like 3 days. So we might be here for a while. So first thing we do is we have a piece of wood. You're going for I have it rounded out already. You're going for pretty much the size, 4 or 5 inches across. This one piece of wood then is going to be the entire bottom of it. So this will be somewhere in the middle of it. So I'm going to put a tenon on this side and everything else. Tim's missing this after his chat last week about what's the opposite of a tenon again? Mortise. The mortises are going to be on the inside and on the bottom. So then basically you can flip this at any point in time too and start kind of screwing with everything, tweaking it. So I'm going to start by putting a tenon on this side. So the tenon side is going to be the top of it. Also, historically, I have, I've golfed. I don't anymore, but when I golfed, my 9-iron was my favorite iron in the entire world. I would use it for everything. If I could have putted with it, I would have. So my bowl gouge is my favorite thing in the entire world. So it's kind of the same thing. I use it for everything. So it may not be appropriate in a lot of things, but I do it. I like my bowl gouge. And then I'm just going to go round it out. There was a crack in this too, so it might kind of chunk a little bit here. I don't know if you could hear that. That definitely, whatever was cracked, I think left. Oh, yep, there it is. So I have it pretty much rounded. Once I get to the tenon side and flip it, I'll kind of clean it up a little bit better. I use this little guy for my, oopsie, where are you? For my tenons. Or not. So that's looking pretty good. Rounded out, we got a tenon on the top. Ooh, that's close. Nice, Cleat. So I'm gonna pull this off and put her on the chuck. Okay. Nice and tight. Get her on. And then I'm gonna bring up the tailstock a little bit again and work on that outside of it a little bit. Take my 9-iron. You can tell she's a little wobbly on this side now, but I think everything else looks pretty good. What you don't want to do is get too small, which historically I've done. I'm not using, at least I don't think I am, the big one. It makes it for a little bit too tight. So these Lazy Susans off Hardware comes in all kinds of sizes. This is the monster one. I think that's a 3-inch, but I'm going to use the tiny baby one. Actually, I got the small ones from Amazon. The nice one I got from Woodworkers Depot, which is now closed. But I think it's just a matter of finding your spot. You know, get them on Amazon and just get 1 or 2 of them and see how good they are. Because like I said, this one, I think it needs a little grease in it or something. It's just not as nice as the bigger ones. So basically what you're gonna do, this one doesn't matter. This is just gonna be your mortise. And all you wanna do is be able to fit it on the other side. But once you get in the inside ones, you want it to be this size, the size of the Lazy Susan. Okay, so I'm going to work on this a little bit more because I screwed it up, and then we'll do a mortise on the inside. That's a nice wood. It's got a little spalting in there. Hallelujah. I'm trying to get out of my bad habits that I do, but I can't help it. So for most of the mortises, I use the my carbide. Oh, I know what I did. Why is it still so wobbly? I haven't. And I'm just going to do, with your carbides, you want to be a little higher, more towards the middle. So, oops. So basically then you just have your mortise. You want it enough where it goes in here, and this side, like I said, all you're doing is watching for the chuck and making sure that you can fit it in the chuck. I do pretty thin. I know that Tim was talking to us all about how thin you can go. I do also pretty thin because you just don't have a lot of room to kind of leeway with this because you have all these mortises in here. So I think that should fit. Let's see. Actually, I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger because I'm concerned that it's too small. And then I'm going to part it. And I know Tim went in for the mortise. He does that where it dovetails. Mine are not terribly dovetaily. The inside one, it makes it a little difficult to dovetail because you're measuring it, at least I measure it to exactly what these are. So now I'm going to part her off. And I forgot my parting tool. Mine is one of the thin parting tools. This is the normal size, but I don't think it should make too much of a difference. Nah, it's okay. Do you have one? No. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is all practice one anyway. So when you're using the parting tool, you always try and give yourself a little bit of leeway so it doesn't bind up. Woo! That came off quickly. Thank you. Lord, parting is not for the weak. Okay. So now we have the bottom, which has the mortise in it. We have the top, which is connected by a tenon. And we are going to make another mortise in the top. Try to make it nice and even. Okay. Now for reference, I just use this, but you can also use your calipers, but I just kind of toss it in there. So I'm just doing a little guesstimate here. So I won't go past that for sure, for now. And like I said, you want it as even as possible with this. And then what you're looking at for depth-wise is you can just slap this on the top if you want, but it's going to have a lot of space in between. So you want to get this in a little bit, and you just want to see the ball bearings in there. Not even close. And there we go. So she's in, she looks good. I need to make it a little bit deeper and a little more even here. Eyeballing it, I could probably go a little deeper. Beautiful. So now we have a 10 in here. Oop, nope, mortise. And you want to finish this one because you can't get back to this one. Once we flip this, we're going to take the tenon off the top, and then you can't get to it. So you would finish it, you would sand it off, make sure everything's even. I use this because you're going to tell if it's not even. So I just take a block with sandpaper on it. Thank you, Tim Harteau. And just sand it down that way. And that's it. That's the top. I'm going to skip the top of this right now. We'll come back to it. And we'll go to the bottom right now. And the bottom is doing the same thing. We're just going to do another mortise on here. And get her even. Thanks, Clete. This is the one you got to be really careful with because there's a mortise on this side and then there's a mortise on this side. And the two should not meet. Do a little check on it. Oopsie, way too much. Oh well. And that, if you do that where it doesn't evenly match up, then you just have to be careful when you're screwing it and just make sure that you screw it in the middle and not off center like this is. I knew that was going to happen. And the other thing that I have done with this is if you're still going for depth, you can still try and have this where it lays in the middle. So you, now when I'm making it a little bit deeper, I can do a little deeper cut and pull it in a little farther because it won't have that wobble then. Let's see if I can get that. Why is this being, oh my goodness. I'm never demonstrating again. Thank you, Clete. There you go. So now there's like a step in it. And that step holds this in. And then, like I said, I made this too wide, but we're back and good. So now we have a bottom, we have a top, and you have a Lazy Susan. It's a little wobbly. There we go. So next up would be doing the top on this. Obviously, again, you're finishing. The bottom is really nice though because, and actually this isn't so much because I did this as a tenon, it's not going to hold as well. So you would definitely want to finish this off. But usually you can tweak them and you can flip these both sides and you can kind of play with it a little bit on the lathe. But for right now, the bottom's done for me. For demonstration purposes, we're over it. Yeah. So now we're going to go back to the top. We're going to put this mortise. Nice. So this is definitely make sure that your the middle of it is done. We're going to pull off this tenon, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about texturing. You can do whatever you want to the top here. I like to do little kind of rounds down and back up. So again, without finishing it, then basically you pull off the tenon. And then what you're going to want is that middle hole, because we still have the spindle to do. If you don't have the drill chuck, easily can do this. If you just make sure when you're turning it, just make a hole in there, and then you can follow that hole if you have and use a regular drill. You just drill the middle, and that's what the spindle. Whoops. So then you just take a screw, put her up. Yeah. Yep, all the way through. Oops, where are we? Boop, boop. All the way through. And then you just take a screw, and that goes through there. And I'll show you with mine here. Screws there. And then we'll talk about the spindle in a little bit. So your top and bottom are done then. Then it's just a matter of doing our spindle. And actually, I'm not going to talk about texturing. Oh, holy cow, we got plenty. Oh no, that's 11, that's not 10. The heck? I talked to Jerry, and I've already decided that this is illegal as all get out. But who does it? Richard Raffin does it, so I'm going to do it. I ended up grabbing the wrong thing, and this does not fit. This is supposed to be the one that I use, and it doesn't fit. It's too small. So we're just going to use the square end. We're going to put it in the chuck. We're going to lock her in there. and then um, we're going to turn it. The spindle on this, basically, you just do a regular spindle, and then we're just going to put a hole in the bottom. And there's these brass wood inserts that I got from Vern's in Pulaski. And they're brass, and this is hardwood. So it's really easy to screw them up. But we'll talk about that when we get to it, I guess. Really tight. And then tight this way. And let's make a spindle. I feel like I need music or something. Can't we do music in between? Tall and tan and young and lovely. A girl from Ipanema. Okay. Looks good. Let's make a spindle. The one thing with this is you get to use a lot of different tools, and you can start kind of putting it all together. Usually I use the spindle gouge, and then I go to skew because it's just nice to kind of practice your skew once we get this down. I am not the world's greatest skew person, but it is fun. So this side is going to be the bottom of the spindle. This is where we're going to put the hole in, and this is where we're going to taper in. I'm going to grab my skew, and I'm going to show off here. So there. Hopefully I'm going to show off. Again, with this, you can do a tapering. You can make it go out. You can do what you want. You can make this kind of loop in and do whatever you want for form on this. It's kind of freewheeler. I'm going to stick with a straight line. And I'm not going to show off. Look at this, 9-iron. 4-iron, excuse me. Oh my hell. Okay, good enough. Taper off the end here a little bit. And when all else fails, carbide tool. I wasn't going to sand. Definitely not going to sand much, but obviously I'm not great with these, so the spindles, so I'm just going to sand it up a little bit. Voila. Again, you can sand it up a little bit more, do what you got to do with it to make it pretty. But I'm going to talk a little bit about this hole on the bottom, and then we'll do the texturing. Yeah, there is no real hiding her hair here. I used to do like 7 inches for the spindle, but if I thought about it after, and it's like, if you look at yarn balls, they're this tall. So why do you need 7 inches? You could do, I have a nice short squat one here that I really like. You know, it's still going to hold your yarn. It's just a matter of, will it hold yarn? Yes. So, and that's the other reason I kind of like the texturing on the bottom of these, because then again, the yarn ball can kind of just spin in this. And if you have that texturing, it might hold it a little better. I'm sorry, what? No, it's for a ball. A ball, or, yeah, the ones that are rounded. I know they have different ones. I think the ones that they take it out of a skein and then they make it into a ball, I don't know that it still, I think, would work with this. It should. Go ahead.
Whether the ball spins on the spindle or spins on a lazy Susan doesn't matter as long as it spins.
Correct. You don't have to do this with the screws in it. Definitely, you don't have to. You could just lock it in. And I think the reason they do it is just because, like I said, it's very portable. Those knitters like to be very portable, and you don't want it's just going to be so easily to break off. So again, what I found with this, and like I said, this is me. You guys, if you do you, and dear God in heaven, if you find something better than this, please tell me. This is actually big, but you can get these brass wood screws. It's like $1 at Vern's. And then that's what's going to go in here. But because it's brass, it's just difficult. It's very difficult. I've watched a few things on how to put these into wood. With it being hardwood innately, it's just, I have annihilated so many of these. They have a little screw thing on the top of it. I think it was this old house that told me to put this screw part of it because you're never going to take it out once it's in, and it looks more attractive because it doesn't have the nudges in it. Just put the screw part of it in, because you're not going to screw this thing in. You're not going to use a screwdriver to do it. That's what I've lost so many of them on. So usually what I do is I start with pretty much a little bit tight. That's what this drill bit is. If you ask me the size, I won't be able to tell you because I don't know. But then I just go. Ooh, why is everything not working today? Oh. Oh, it's not locked in the drill bit. What did I do? Oh, maybe the tape's doing it. There we go. Ooh, burning. I usually leave a little bit more of a hole in here just because I want the burn smell for everybody. Just for the screw, just in case you get a longer one. That's good. And then I have another bit that's bigger. And this is where I don't go through it. I just hand do it. I just kind of hand ream it. Just to make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to get that in. This one, it's definitely nice to have that drill chuck for, because you want it centered, because once this is wonky, which is another thing that historically I've done, once it's wonky, it just makes the whole thing kind of tilty. So this was also told to me by, I think it was this old house. You do the lock nuts on it. So you have the screw, put the lock nuts on, and then the brass, and then put it in that way. And then you just screw it in. And allegedly it's supposed to work. But I'm kind of hit or miss on this. I think I need to ream it out a little bit more. Oh no. That's the end of that. So it's halfway in, it's not going to come out. So I'm going to do a little forcing here. Can you permanently lock this or no? It won't. Yeah, could you clean? Excuse me. Thank you. Okay, that's not going to work. That's okay. You get the general gist. You pull this out, pull out the screw, and then this should be flush. Brass is what Vern's has. Is there other ones? Oh, for Pete's sake. Seriously? What are they, steel? Okay, live and learn. That's all you do is blow it out. With a hardwood, it's just really hard to get it. It's really hard to get it in. It says that's what? I have no idea. I think it's maple. Hard maple. Historically, I'm thinking about just using a huge drill bit and gluing this thing in because it just is annoying as all get out to get that into the hardwood. It's just hard. Hard. So that would be, and then you would part this little puppy off, sand her up a little bit, and you would be all set to zoom on this. And like I said, in the end result, you would want it flush. Verns and Pulaski. Yeah. But I'm sure they have them. Just a hardware store. So then basically this is what we have then. You have your bottom mortise, you have your mortise that fits the Lazy Susan Hoff software on the bottom, you have the mortise that fits the Lazy Susan software on the top, and then you have your top. You should have a hole in this, and then you just fit your you just fit your spindle onto it, and then you would be done. And that would be pretty much your yarn butler 101. With this, like I said, I'm just going to really lightly touch on dyeing and waxing. So just give me 1 second to set that kind of stuff up a little bit. Oh, yeah. You also have to put a hole in the bottom of in the bottom. And I already have the Lazy Susan software or hardware. Why do I have software? Hardware on the bottom. It's attached with screws on this. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. You just take screws, and I have a magnetic. Hello, there you are. I have a magnetic, I magnetize my screwdriver. And then if you look at these screws that I have, you can see that some of them are much smaller. That has to do with the tenon. So if you start screwing these in and all of a sudden it's coming through, then you need to use the smaller screw. And you'll be able to feel it. If you're tight on area, you'll be able to feel it. But basically you take your screw, and what you're going to look for is, I already pre-drilled the holes in here. So you look to put them together, and then you go into the hole here and you screw it in, and you do that 4 times. And usually around the 3rd time you lose a screw, and then you unscrew everything to get it out. And then you start over. So that's how you put it all together. Thank you for that question. I would have gotten to it eventually, probably, I don't know, tomorrow. Oh, yeah. I'm not the only one? Oh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that would be it. I'm going to talk a little bit. This one with the dyeing, I'm going to use this. That's why I undid it right now. So just let me get set up for that. Listen to a little bit of Girl from Ipanema, and I'll be right back. So I haven't seen any demonstrations from us on texturizing. So I just thought I'd touch on it. I am not, again, as with parting tools and most tools, I am not the queen of any of this. I am not fabulous. I have the tools, I have fun with it, and it's kind of nice to be able to do this. I only have, they have different tools that you can do for texturing. I only have the small Sorby, and with it, it comes with two size. There's a coarse and a fine for the cutting, and then you can buy another one. So the coarse and the fine, you can see it has a bevel here on the side, and then it's a straight edge on this side. I've seen different people doing it different ways for cutting edge on this. I usually try to use the bevel side for the cutting edge. This one is the coarse one that's in it right now. You have this little brass, God knows brass again, knurl that I usually try to keep the knurl on the flat side of it, because what happens, depending on how you do this, your knurl will unscrew and you will lose them in your chips, and then it's not magnetic. So just be very careful with that if you do get this tool. Yes, exactly. So you have the coarse one, you have the fine one, and then you have there's a bevel on both sides of this one. So they just meet in the middle. This one is really nice for like an orange peel texture. It has this, which nobody uses. I like it. It's just a plate, and all you're doing is holding the plate so it holds your tool at the same size or at the same angle. So I use it. Most people just put that I've seen online, just put the tool on and they hold it in their angle however they can. I like having that extra kind of bonus, don't screw up kind of thing. When you're doing texturing, they say the best speed is around 500. You want to be about 3 inches away. So you're kind of holding it right where this crosses, or at least I am where the cross is, onto the tool rest. And then it's just a matter of playing. You can hold it different angles to the wood, like 45-degree angle, and you're going to get more of a swooping stuff going on. You hold it straight on, and you're just going to get like little ticks. So it just, like I said, just if you get one of these, it's just a matter of playing with it and having fun. I'm going to just kind of whip out a couple of these right now, just to show you what it can do. And then I have one that's already done, and we're going to talk about waxing it, because what you need to do is somehow you have to accentuate the texturing on it. Somehow you have to bring it out. Otherwise, it just kind of looks like nudges on a piece of wood and you don't really see it. So let's give her a shot here. You want it, you kind of want it down at an angle downward a little bit, not too much. It's either even with center or going down into center. So I'm going to start with that angle. 45-degree angle here. That was a quickie. Yeah, sorry. I lost it there for a second. So I did straight on to it. Can you see it? Oh yeah, holy cow, Cleet. Nice job. So it's just kind of like a starburst on this one. And was that my purpose here? No. Nope, nope, not at all. I'm just punting. Sorry guys, but that's the truth. Usually then what I do is then you take your carbide, or they have specific tools where you can just stick it in and make a line. But I use the corner of my carbide. So you can separate them. What you're going to do next then this is kind of a hard wood, but you can see it in there. And that's all you're going to do with it is, oh, geez, Cleet, look at you rocking it out. And then I do another separating. And then I'll probably, you can change these out so easily. Oh, it's possible to get catch. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a possibility of getting a catch with everything. And you're asking the right person for that one. This one is one that is beveled on both sides. That's too fast. That's like 700. Again, you want to be around 500. Ooh. Oh, this thing caught it. A little too close. And that's kind of the orange peel effect. Oh, Cleet, holy cow. Huh? No, but you're rocking out the... so that would be basically texturing. And like I said, for me, it's just a lot of playing. It's just punt. If you have a really nice piece and you want to, do something with it, usually I'll grab the texturing tool and just grab another piece of poop wood and put that on just to practice before you go on your real wood. So what I do then, just due to the fact that I want to have this kind of really stick out, is I dye it. I am lucky enough to have a boy who was doing some painting, model painting, and he needed an air gun or a spray, airbrush. Thank you. See, that's the word finding issue I have. So he gave me this. Thank you. I love you. And then a pump. In total, I think online this is like 50 or 60 bucks and the pump is like 100, but I'm not sure. Yesterday I did one, and I decided, because cleaning this is a bear, so I did it hand. It's not like you can't take a piece of a rag and just put it on. It just ends up a little splotchier, and it's really hard to get into the texturing. So you're like kind of wailing into the texturing. Whereas if you use a spray gun, it's just like an automatic kind of, you just angle the gun and you can get it into all those little nooks and crannies. But is it necessary? No, not absolutely. For sure, not absolutely. So then, where was I? Texture, oh, then you would just spray it. And then what I use is Artisan. It is an alcohol-based dye. It has shellac in it. So you can spray that on, and then if you can kind of buff it out, shine it up, because it has that shellac in there. But again, use a rag, don't use like a paper towel, because what ends up happening is all the paper towel zhuzh gets on it. Regarding all of this that I'm talking about, my favorite, Jeff Horning, he is the walnut log. I bought this, I can't even remember how long ago. And these are the bowls that he makes, and this is where I obviously got this from. With this, he gave me the dye, the wax, and then the video. And I don't remember how much that was, but it was beautiful. I love this. This taught me a lot. I am going to loan it out. If anybody wants to borrow it, I want it back, just like a library. It's the Lynn Library. So if you are interested in it and if you want to borrow it, just say so. And then I'll loan it out to anybody who wants it. And he has a lot of just nice tidbits in there, really nice tidbits in there. So now I have this little guy. I have texturized it. I have dyed it. And now it still just looks kind of like a blue blob. So now I know that Tim has a lot of, what is it, lime wax. You can use the liming wax on it. What was sent to me was this Hampshire Sheen. That's the one that he sent, white embellishing paste wax. And then I bought it again. I don't know why. I know why, because this is all shiny. It's very glittery. Oh, come on. It's very glittery in there, which I'm not fond of. I like the lime wax better, but this is what I got. So, and I suppose for this, it might be better. I don't have my gloves today. Yay. So what you do, you just slather it on. Be generous with it. You want to get it into all of those nooks and crannies. There is a wax built in it. So again, it gives you that kind of sheen to it. I suppose I could use a paper towel. Also, when you're doing the texturing, after you're done with it, you can sand it down with just the sawdust instead of sandpaper. Because you're definitely going to have some of that sticking up. What you want to be really careful with this is what happens is if you work it too much, you, oh, thank you. You don't want to work it too much because what's going to happen is the white is going to turn blue. The white will pick up on all of this dye. So you want to work it in, but you don't want to overwork it. And you will tell, you can see it when it is. I'm just trying to get it in all those. Lines here. So be generous with it, for sure. And then, like I said, I usually use just a rag. Again, this is Jeff talking, the walnut log.
You said not paint it because it'll disintegrate on the surface.
On the texturizing will. But I could apply this with it for sure. You can apply it, but when you wipe it off, you want to use a rag. You don't want to go hog wild because again, you're losing your blue on here. So just light wipes, pulling it off. And that's basically it. For a finish on this, I use a shellac, a spray shellac, because you want to get over this wax. You want to do something with this wax to keep it intact. So I usually do 3 to 4 coats of just a spray lacquer. Did I forget anything? No, I basically just wipe it off. Because like I said, the more you work it, the blue, and if you might want blue on blue, you might want that wax to turn like a different lighter blue with it for an accentuate, depending on, your color. But for the most part, no, I just kind of work it as little as possible, get it in the nooks and crannies, wipe it off, and then shellac it.